Young David's mind raced with negative thoughts. He would receive compliments. He would almost become suspicious of the people's motives that were giving him the compliments. Young David was his biggest self-critic and always made sure to point out each of his flaws. Present David, he also raced with negative thoughts. His mind also raced with negative thoughts, and maybe even more than younger David. However, present David also considers how it contributes to his purpose. This allows him to filter through his negative thoughts when they do happen and discover the hidden meanings behind them, allowing him to skyrocket his self-improvement. Now, for those of you relating to young David, I have carefully designed this video for you. What I'll be sharing with you is not a cure, but a solution to your problems. You might be thinking, wait, what? This video is going to be a very descriptive solution to a problem they're facing. This is exactly what turned young David into everything that younger him wanted him to be. So, this is what allowed him to turn everything around for himself. If you're in young David's shoes, I cannot express how valuable this video will be for you. There is a lot to cover, but I have shortened it down as much as I could. If you still have any questions after the video, you can comment below or ask on my subreddit, r/holistic improvement. But moving on to number 1, there is no cure. Right? Now, the first thing you must remember is that there is no cure for these problems themselves. Problems themselves. Everybody faces them, right? And the more responsibility you bear, typically the worse it'll be. This means that successful people of all varieties have just as many problems as you and I. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, who else? My mind's blanking. Mark Manson, everyone, right? So what separates us from them? Well, the answer to that would be the ability to problem solve. Successful people are equipped with the ability of problem solving, which can be broken down into other skills such as open-minded learning and others. But if you don't know what ROI is, because the open-minded learning is in itself another high ROI skill, and if you don't know what ROI means, it's return on investment, which is basically just how much you get back in return for the effort or resource that you put in. The only thing that successful people do to live in successful lives is simply to think. Alright? Learn how to think efficiently. If you're not sure what that means, I've done videos on that. A little card should pop up on the screen if you could go follow it, wherever it is. So I'll also leave it in the description. But number 2, what is the trick? Now, it might seem like really oversimplified to many of you. Like there must be a trick to success. Otherwise, why isn't everyone successful? Well, here's another way of thinking about it. Everyone is successful to some degree. Some more and some less, but the question still stands. How do you become highly successful? Because that's likely what you're talking about. What's the trick? Well, changing your perspective. There's something that scientists know to be called a paradigm, and this is basically the set of beliefs you hold about the world, the laws that make up the world you live in, and the rules under which your world operates, like I said. If you ever had that oh shit moment where you just kind of like feel slightly mystified about the things around you and everything feels a bit surreal, this is a bit what a paradigm shift feels like. Now, Many never know what that feeling is. Some never come to experience it or make note of it, and will never bother to figure out what beliefs have been opened up to them. This is where my video on journaling comes in, and it's important to realize what new lens is being opened up so you can look through it. Otherwise, you may never be able to look through it and move to the next one. So, number 3, how to change how you think. So, it can be important or helpful. I'll say that. It can be helpful to understand what thinking and the different types of biases you can have, etc. But that would make this video way too long if I included all of that. But what I'll leave you with here is this. A brief example. Rather than thinking, I can't afford this, think, how can I afford this? Now, one option forces you to think while the other option states a fact. And facts, by definition, are things that are known to be true. However, in science, facts are often modified or built upon. They're completely changed based on new information, right? In other words, with new evidence. I said I wouldn't touch on the whole psychological aspect of cognitive bias, but just know that this evidence plays a massive part in it. So the takeaway from all of this, real quick, if it sounds like we've gotten off topic, is facts allow you to turn off your brain and not problem solve. It's both easier and more comfortable to support a current belief than to find evidence for a new one. By stating, I can't afford this, you're pretty much taking the easy way out. And imagine being the parent of a little girl, right? Could you look into her hopeful eyes and tell her that you can't afford something that she really wants, regardless if she deserves it or not? Would you be able to do that? Would you want her to know that, or wouldn't you want her to know that you could provide for her? That you could provide anything your family needs? Now maybe this seems like a bit of an extreme example, and I'm sure I'm going to get comments telling me that, just negative comments, but the trick here is, the trick to doing that, the trick to providing anything your family could want or need, it is as simple as changing the phrasing of certain questions. This will lead to a mindset change and the skill of critical thinking. Now, you're not supposed to be able to have a whole psychological swap within a month, 2 weeks or 2 months, or, this is a learning process, and it is a very unsexy answer. You will struggle. However, you can learn a lot from this struggle by asking yourself questions, and again, this is where journaling comes in. I'll have a link to my video in the description. But number 4, with that said, is to questions. It'll be questions. And I've mentioned that questions are important. But what do I mean? How do we ask these questions? How do we word them? What specific questions are there? I covered all of this in the video, but let me give a short answer here. This is the key to all successful questions. Take responsibility in the questions you ask yourself. Okay? What does that mean? What the hell? You might be confused, but essentially, you want to figure out what it is that you can do to change the result you are getting from anything in life, right? Because ultimately, that's what it comes down to. You cannot change the other people or circumstances. At most, you can teach people and help them grow. You know, you could change your mind. You could change yourself. You could change how you view things. You could change your paradigm, etc. Right? Here's another way I think about it, and it may help you. You are a variable in the equation of life. You cannot change other variables. You can only change yourself and the reflection or the relation that you have on those other variables. Oh, I'm sorry about that, boys. These allergies are kicking my ass. So where was I? The variable equation? I believe so. So rather than hating yourself because you're getting a result that you don't like, see what you can do to get that result yourself. See what you can change. That's the mindset you want to have when you ask these questions. And it may seem like a bunch of jargon, but what I've just given you speaks exponentially about a topic most people will ramble on and on for hours about, and you still won't know the basic mechanics or principles behind it. Right? Example, rather than ask, why does no one like me? Or why can't people just be nicer? Instead ask, why do I feel like no one likes me? What do I do to make people rude? Or how do I perceive people to be rude? Are they actually not rude? Is it just a way I'm taking stuff? Those are rough examples, but there's many ways you can implement this. You know, what you want to make sure is that you're asking yourself about something you can actually control or have an impact on. Now, this is the most crucial and meaningful advice that I could give you. The most ROI I could share, or the most ROI I could squeeze out of this video. Oh, I hate that. I almost just sneezed. Okay. But I didn't. Oh, man. You can feel my pain already, can't you? But really take time to consider rewatching this in certain points so you can think about them if you don't understand what I mean. I have a few different videos on my channel where I go more into depth in all of these topics that I mentioned here, where I have other other posts on my subreddit r/holistic improvement that could help. With that said, I pray you were able to take something out of this video, because even if it doesn't fully make sense yet, it'll all come together for you eventually and help towards some bettering of some kind of understanding, right? It can only build your understanding by giving you more knowledge, and that'll eventually lead to paradigm change. However, if you go out of your way and you look for that, you look for this new information, you look for these differing beliefs, you will grow much, much quicker than any of your peers. Even closed-minded people learn a bit. It's impossible not to, and it's just the best way to get the most out of life, education, people.